Hello and welcome. I am Rohit Trisal. In this demonstration, our goal is to build a development goal workflow agent that assists employees in creating individual development goals. The development goal AI agent supports employees by generating clear, actionable development goals. It streamlines goal creation, reduces employee workload, and improves overall goal quality. To create the agent from scratch, we need to follow two steps. Create and configure nodes for the agent. Start by adding the business object function node to read and update application data. Use an LLM node when you need natural language interpretation or to generate responses. Add condition nodes to route the flow based on business rules. Use set variable nodes to store intermediate values, flags, or user context used by later nodes. The send email node automatically sends emails to the right recipients based on workflow actions. And then finally test the agent in debug mode. To begin, let's go to AI Agent Studio, which is where developers and administrators create and manage these workflow agents. Let's begin by navigating to Tools AI Agent Studio. Once inside, we see multiple tabs for configuration. Since we are creating the workflow agent from scratch, we click on Agent Teams and then click on Add. We will start by entering the details for the agent team. We will give it a name. The agent team code will automatically default. We'll give it a family, product, and the type of agent would be workflow agent. We'll also give it a description. Next, we will click on the variables tab. We will add a variable that we will use later in one of the nodes. So click on add and the variable type would be string. Click on apply. Next, click on the triggers tab. We will add a trigger here that will be used to start the workflow agent. So click on add, give it a name, type as string. So goal name will be our trigger to invoke the workflow agent. Click on apply and then click create. Now we will start by adding a business object function node. Click on plus and select business object function node. Now we'll enter the details of this business object function node. Product as other, business object as self detail, and business object function as get user session. So this business object node will fetch the person number and email address of the logged in user. We will use this person number as the input for the next node, and we'll also use the email address in the send email node, which we'll create later on. We will capture both values in the output. For that, in the output section, select simple mode and we'll add two variables. First one is email address of type string and second one is person number, again of type string. So the get user session will retrieve the person number and email address of the logged in user, and that will be stored in these two variables. Now click create. We will add another business object function. So click on plus and select business object function. Enter the details. Family as HCM, product as global human resources, business object as person information, and function as get person information. So we have to provide the input parameters for this business object function. So we'll edit the person number and add a value for this parameter. So we'll go to nodes. So we'll use the person number output from the get username business object function as the input for this get person information business object function. We'll make a slight modification here and add items we use output.items bracket 0.person number because the previous node returns its results in an array. Items bracket 0 lets us access the first record from that output and use its person number as the input for this node. Now click on apply. For effective date, we can use the system current date. Click on apply. So this get person information business object function node will retrieve the person ID and assignment ID of the person based on the person number that we have added as the input parameter. To store the person ID and assignment ID in the output, we again click on simple mode and add two variables. Person ID of type number and assignment ID again of type number. Now click create. Now we'll add a third business object function. So click on plus and then choose business object function. Enter the details. Family as HCM. Product as global human resources. Business object as worker assignments. And function as get worker assignment. Again, in the input parameters, click on edit. Click here, context, then select the node. Our previous node was get person details. Go to output and select person ID. Again, we'll add items and 0 in the square brackets. Since the previous business object function node will retrieve data in the form of arrays, click on apply. This node, that is get worker assignment business object function, will return the worker's assignment type, whether the worker is employee or contingent worker, which will be used by another node in our workflow agent. Again, we'll have to store the assignment type of the worker. So we'll do that in the output section. So click on simple mode, click on add, and let's name this as assignment type meaning. And the type is string. So again, this business object function will take input as person ID, which was our output in the last business object function node, and then it will retrieve the assignment type of the worker, which again will be the output for this business object function node. Now click create. Next, we will add a set variable node. So click on plus and choose set variables. Give it a name and add the variable. In the name, click on the drop-down and choose worker type. We defined this variable when we started creating the agent, right? We had this variable tab in the agent where we defined this worker type variable. And the value of this variable would be the output of our previous business object function node. So click here, context, go to nodes. So our last business object node was worker details. Go to output and select assignment type meaning. Again, we'll use items. Click apply and click create. So this node will store the worker type from this node in a variable called worker type. Now we will include an if condition. So click on plus and choose if condition. Give it a name. In this if condition, we will check whether the worker is an employee or contingent worker. So we'll add the condition, click here, context, and choose the variable. So in this if condition, we'll check if the worker type is employee. So if the worker is an employee, we proceed with the goal creation. If not, we send an email saying the goal cannot be created. Okay, now click create. Now, if the worker is not an employee, then the if condition will return false. And we want to send an email to the user that the goal is not created. So click plus and select send email node. Give it a name. In the recipients, go here, click on context, go to the nodes, go to get username, which is our first business object function node. And in the output, if we remember, we had stored two values, person number and email address. So we are going to use the email address here. Again, we'll add the items 0. So the logged in user will get a goal not created email. Enter this email subject and email message. And click on create. Now, if the worker is an employee, then it will resolve to true. So we'll click here and add a LLM node. So we'll use this LLM node to generate the description and success criteria for the goal name. Give it a name and enter a prompt. We'll start with the text enhance the goal name and then provide the goal name, which will be an input from the user. So that will be part of the trigger. Then we'll instruct the LLM to generate the description and success criteria. So once the LLM generates the description and success criteria, it will have to store it in the output. So again, select simple mode and add two fields here. The first one is success criteria of the type string, and the second one is description, again of the type string. Now click on create. So the LLM node generates the description and success criteria of the goal. So now let's add another business object function which will actually create the development goal. So click on plus and select business object function. Give it a name, family as HCM, product as goal management, business object as create development goal BO, and function as create development goal. Now we will add values to these parameters which will be used to create the development goal. Most of these parameters values are derived from the output of the previous nodes in the workflow. So we'll start with person ID and click on edit. So click here, context, go to nodes, and the person ID was output of the get person details node. So go to output and select person ID. We will again add the items piece here and click on apply. Next, edit the goal name. Click here, context, triggers, rest, input, and the user will input the goal name. Next is start date. So again, we'll click here, context, and we'll go to system and we'll use the current date as the start date of the goal. Next is target completion date. So we'll hard code it to 2025 12/31. Click on apply. Next is description. So description was the output of the LLM node. So click here, go to context, go to nodes. So enhance goal is our LLM node. Go to output and select description. Click on apply. Success criteria. The value of success criteria is the output of the LLM node. So click here, context, nodes, enhance goal, output as success criteria. Click on apply and click create. Finally, we will add the send email node. So click on plus and choose send email node. Give it a name. Recipients, again, we will choose the value. Context, go to nodes, go to the first node, which is get username, and output, we had stored the email address. We'll again include the items. Enter a subject and message of the email. We'll also include a CC email address. And click create. Now our workflow agent is ready. So we started with the get username business object function, which will retrieve the person number and the email address. That person number is passed on to the get person details business object function, which will retrieve the assignment ID and person ID. That person ID is used by worker details business object function, and this business object function retrieves the assignment type. That assignment type value is stored in the set worker type variable, and then we are comparing the set worker variable, whether the variable has a value of employee. If yes, then it will invoke the LLM node, which will generate the description and the success criteria. If the variable does not have employee value, then it will send an email to the user that the goal is not created. Once the success criteria and the description is generated by the LLM, it is stored as an output, and the goal creation business object is invoked, right, which creates the development goal using the parameters. Once the goal is created, the send email node is invoked, and the user receives an email that the goal is created. Now we will test the agent. So click on the play button. Choose the trigger type as REST and provide a goal name. Click on Start Test. And we can see the goal is created. So if we review each of the nodes, so I will go up. So the get username function retrieves the person number and the email address of the logged in user. So this is the email address and this is the person number. So the get person details business object function receives person number as the input from the previous node, and the output includes person ID and assignment ID. The worker details business object function receives input as person ID from the previous node, and it generates the assignment type meaning along with other fields. Now in the set worker type variable node, we are assigning worker type with the value of employee, which is generated from the previous node. Now in the next node, which is the if condition node, we are checking whether the worker type is employee, and the output is true. So then it moves to the next node, which is your LLM node, which generates the description and success criteria based on the goal name. So here it is generating the description and success criteria. Then we move to the goal creation business object function, which has the target completion date, which has the start date, goal name, description, success criteria. So once the goal is created, then it moves to the next node, which is the send email node. It will send the email to Curtis Feety, who is our logged in user, and there is another person, ry@yopmail.com, who was in the CC list, and we see the output as success. Now we'll navigate to me and look at the goal that has been created. So I'm logged in as Curtis Feety. Under me, click on careers and performance. Then select goal center. Select the development tab. And here we see the goal has been created. We have the goal name, description, success criteria, start date, and target completion date. These were the parameters which we provided in the goal creation business object function. We also received an email indicating the goal has been created. So this is the email that has been received once the goal was created.